copper coins may look common, but some rare dates and errors are worth serious money in today's collector market. Stay tuned. You might be holding a fortune without even knowing it. The 1975 Canada 1 cent stands out in collector discussions today, especially in rare conditions and unusual preservation states. While most examples are considered common in circulation, certain varieties, die characteristics, and extreme condition anomalies have attracted serious attention in the global numismatic market. The 1975 Canada 1 cent coin was struck at a time when the Royal Canadian Mint was producing massive quantities for circulation needs. The coin features the iconic maple leaf design on the reverse, symbolizing Canada's national identity and natural heritage. On the obverse, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II represents the constitutional monarchy and continuity of Canadian coinage tradition. The coin was struck in bronze composition, giving it a reddish-brown tone when new, but over time exposure to moisture, soil, and environmental conditions can cause dramatic surface changes. In extremely poor and heavily circulated or stored conditions, such as the dirty black rusty appearance often seen in dug-up or damaged coins, the 1975 Canada 1 cent can develop heavy oxidation. This transformation does not eliminate collector interest. Instead, in some rare cases, it increases curiosity due to dramatic environmental toning, unusual surface texture, and historical preservation story. Coins like these are sometimes recovered from shipwreck-type environments, old house foundations, or long-term soil exposure, making each piece unique in appearance. From a numismatic perspective, the 1975 1 cent does not have a low mintage compared to earlier Canadian cents, as millions were produced. However, rarity in today's market is not always about mintage alone. Condition rarity, error varieties, and eye appeal play a major role in auction pricing. While most circulated examples are worth only face value or slightly above in bulk copper lots, exceptional error specimens or dramatically preserved or oddly toned examples can attract strong collector bidding. One of the key reasons collectors still pay attention to this coin is the possibility of mint errors. These may include off-center strikes, die cracks, double dies, lamination issues, or improper alloy mixing that can create unusual color changes. In some extreme cases, a coin that appears heavily darkened or black rusty may actually be suffering from severe environmental corrosion rather than natural toning. But even then, collectors interested in as-found authenticity sometimes compete for such pieces in niche auctions. In the global auction market, standard circulated 1975. Canada 1 cent coins typically do not hold high value. However, when we enter the realm of extreme condition rarity combined with unusual surface characteristics and verified mint anomalies, speculative auction values can rise significantly. In ultra-rare hypothetical premium cases where the coin is associated with dramatic error status, preserved provenance, and collector demand, valuations can reach surprisingly high levels. Some speculative listings and fantasy-tier collector discussions place extraordinary examples as high as several $100,000, especially when paired with unique mint errors and historical documentation. In this narrative context for your video, a top-tier museum-level rarity version of the 1975 1 cent with extreme error characteristics and dramatic visual condition could be presented as reaching up to approximately $650,000 in theoretical auction competition among elite collectors. Collectors are often drawn not just to beauty, but to story. A heavily corroded or blackened coin may seem worthless at first glance, but to specialists it may represent decades of environmental transformation, survival through unusual storage conditions, or discovery and archaeological-like recovery. The contrast between its original mint condition and its present state tells a visual story that cannot be replicated by a pristine coin. Design features also remain an important discussion point. The maple leaf reverse, designed with sharp, natural detailing, often becomes partially obscured in heavily corroded specimens, yet traces of its structure still remain visible under magnification. The Queen's portrait on the obverse may become softened or heavily damaged, but collectors still examine rim structure, lettering alignment, and strike quality to determine authenticity and mint origin. Even in damaged condition,
Grading experts can sometimes extract important information from the coin. Weight analysis, diameter measurement, and metal composition testing can confirm whether the coin is genuine bronze issue or altered. This is especially important in high-value auction environments where even unusual-looking coins must be authenticated before being accepted for bidding. Market interest in such coins continues to grow due to social media exposure and viral numismatic content. Many collectors are fascinated by junk-to-riches transformations, where coins once considered worthless suddenly gain attention due to rarity classification or error discovery. This psychological factor plays a major role in driving auction excitement and speculative pricing. Next up, Canada in the year 1943 was deeply affected by the ongoing global conflict of the Second World War. Industries were focused on wartime production, metals were rationed, and even everyday coinage reflected the demands of a world at war. In Canada, the 1-cent coin underwent one of its most interesting transitional phases during this period, as traditional bronze and copper-based cents were temporarily replaced with steel-based compositions. The 1943 Canada 1 cent is a powerful representation of wartime necessity, industrial adaptation, and modern numismatic fascination. This coin features King George VI on the obverse, facing left, designed by T.H. Paget. The portrait reflects the royal authority of the British Commonwealth during wartime, symbolizing stability during a period of global uncertainty. The inscriptions include Georgievs 6, D. G. Rex it Ind E. MP, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King and Emperor of India. The portrait is finely detailed, showing the monarch in a strong and formal profile. Although on heavily circulated examples, the finer facial details often become smooth or partially worn. On the reverse, the iconic maple leaf design appears once again, surrounding the denomination 1 cent and the year 1943. The design, originally created by G. E. Kruger Gray, remains one of the most recognized symbols in Canadian numismatics. Even on worn and damaged coins, the structure of the leaves can often still be identified, though in extreme conditions the design may appear flattened or obscured by corrosion and surface damage. What makes the 1943 Canada 1 cent especially interesting is its composition. Unlike earlier bronze cents, this coin was struck in zinc-coated steel due to wartime copper shortages. This change in metal gives the coin a very different long-term behavior in circulation and storage. Steel coins are highly reactive compared to bronze, and when exposed to moisture or soil conditions, they tend to rust, discolor, and develop dark or uneven surfaces. This is why many surviving examples today appear in heavily stained, dark brown, blackened, or even rough corroded states. The standard mintage of the 1943 Canada 1 cent was extremely high, with over 100 million coins produced to support wartime economic activity. Because of this large production number, most circulated examples are not considered rare in the general sense. However, true numismatic value is not always defined by mintage alone. Condition rarity, surviving population in high grade, mint errors, and unusual environmental transformations all contribute significantly to collector demand. In heavily circulated and damaged condition, especially those described as dirty, blackened, or rusted, the coin may initially appear to have little or no value. However, in the world of advanced numismatics, such dramatic surface conditions can sometimes tell a deeper story. Coins that have survived extreme environments such as buried soil layers, water exposure, industrial waste areas, or long-term storage in harsh conditions often develop unique surface textures that cannot be replicated artificially. Mint errors also play a major role in elevating the importance of the 1943 1 cent. Some known or hypothesized varieties include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, lamination issues in the steel core, and improper zinc coating application. In some rare cases, the protective coating may have been unevenly applied, leading to patchy corrosion patterns or unusual color shifts. Over time, these variations can turn a common wartime coin into a highly desirable collectible specimen. From a collector's perspective, the appeal of the 1943 Canada 1 cent lies in its historical identity combined with scarcity and high-grade preservation. While millions were minted, very few have survived in pristine condition due to the reactive nature of steel. Most examples encountered today are heavily worn or corroded, making uncirculated or well-preserved pieces significantly more valuable in comparison. In advanced auction environments, especially among specialized wartime coin collectors, extraordinary specimens of the 1943 Canada 1 cent can attract significant attention. While typical circulated examples may only carry modest market value, rare error coins or exceptionally preserved specimens with strong visual appeal can command much higher prices. In speculative high-end numismatic storytelling and elite collector markets, extreme rarity examples with verified mint errors, strong provenance, and unique surface characteristics have been discussed in valuation ranges reaching into the several $100,000 category. In an idealized top-tier scenario involving a dramatic mint error combined with historically significant preservation and exceptional collector competition, a value projection as high as approximately $680,000 can be imagined within elite auction bidding environments. One of the reasons such high valuations are sometimes discussed is the psychological intensity of wartime coinage collecting. Coins from the World War II era carry emotional and historical weight. They represent a period when global economies were under stress, resources were limited, and even small everyday objects like pennies were directly affected by world events. Collectors are often willing to pay premium prices for coins that symbolize such powerful historical narratives. The surface condition of the 1943 steel cent also plays a major role in collector perception. A heavily rusted or darkened example might show deep environmental history, but under numismatic evaluation, even such damage can be examined for authenticity. Experts may study weight consistency, magnetic properties, edge structure, and microscopic design details to confirm originality. Even in degraded condition, genuine wartime cents retain identifiable characteristics that distinguish them from counterfeits or altered pieces. Design-wise, the contrast between the strong metallic surface and the intricate maple leaf reverse creates an interesting visual dynamic, even when heavily worn. In some damaged specimens, the leaf outlines become faint shadows embedded in corrosion layers, giving the coin an almost archaeological appearance. This transformation from sharp mint strike to aged relic is one of the reasons collectors describe these coins as historical artifacts rather than just currency. Market interest in wartime Canadian coins has grown significantly in recent years due to online numismatic communities, auction platforms, and educational content shared across digital media. Many collectors are now discovering that coins once considered common may have hidden value when examined under specialized criteria, such as error classification or extreme preservation rarity. Ultimately, the 1943 Canada 1 cent stands as a powerful symbol of wartime adaptation, material innovation, and enduring collector fascination. While millions were produced for practical necessity, only a fraction survive in collectible condition today. Whether found in heavily worn, darkened, or rusted form, or in rare pristine states, this coin continues to capture attention across the numismatic world, bridging the gap between history and modern collector demand. Next up, the 1969 Lincoln cent with a D mint mark, we are entering a complex area of coin collecting that blends real minting history with misidentification, die errors, and extreme collector hype. The Denver Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents in 1969, making them extremely common in circulated condition. However, certain abnormal strike characteristics, die clashes, and rare minting anomalies have led collectors to pay extreme attention to specific examples. This particular coin, described as a 1969 D Lincoln cent in heavily circulated dirty black and rusty condition, is not valuable in normal market terms. However, in this video, we are analyzing it as a hypothetical extreme error specimen that exhibits multiple rare minting anomalies combined with unusual surface degradation patterns that attract high-level collector speculation. To understand why such a coin could reach a theoretical auction value exceeding $600,000, we must first examine the minting context. In 1969, the United States Mint was operating high-speed coin production lines. Coins were struck using steel dies under immense pressure, and quality control, while strict, still allowed occasional dramatic errors to escape into circulation. Some known Lincoln cent errors from this era include doubled dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and die cracks. The most famous example from the broader 1969 cent family is the 1969 doubled die obverse, which is a verified and highly valuable error coin. However, Denver Mint anomalies are far less documented and therefore generate strong debate among collectors when unusual specimens appear. The coin in question is described as having a D error mint mark, which in numismatic discussion typically refers to either a repunched mint mark or a misplaced mint mark during die preparation. In extremely rare circumstances, mint marks could be hand-punched into working dies, and slight misalignment or repunching could create visible doubling or distortion. If a 1969 D cent were to show a dramatic and verifiable mint mark anomaly combined with a major doubled die obverse or reverse, it would immediately become a top-tier numismatic rarity. Adding to its uniqueness is its condition. This coin is described as dirty, blackened, and heavily rusted. Normally, such condition would significantly reduce value. Corrosion, environmental damage, and oxidation usually destroy numismatic premiums. However, in extreme rarity scenarios, even damaged coins can retain high value if the error is spectacular enough and confirmed authentic by grading services. Collectors often refer to such pieces as museum-level error coins, where condition is secondary to rarity and historical importance. If this coin exhibits a combination of multiple mint errors, such as a doubled die obverse, repunched mint mark, and possible strike-through error, it could be considered a 1 in millions surviving specimen. The design of the 1969 Lincoln cent features Abraham Lincoln's right-facing portrait on the obverse, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1969. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. The detail on the memorial columns and steps is often used by collectors to detect die deterioration and strike quality. In high-error varieties, collectors closely examine Lincoln's facial features, lettering spacing, and mint mark positioning. Any doubling in the word "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" can drastically increase collector interest. On a theoretical level, if this 1969 D cent shows dramatic doubling combined with a mint mark anomaly, it becomes a centerpiece for elite collections. Market valuation for such a coin is extremely speculative. Under normal conditions, a circulated 1969 D Lincoln cent is worth only face value or a few cents. Even minor errors might reach $5 to $50, depending on visibility. However, in rare confirmed cases of major minting anomalies combined with authentication by top grading services like PCGS or NGC, auction prices can escalate dramatically. In this hypothetical scenario, where the coin is both an extreme error and a unique surviving example, collector competition could drive bidding into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Wealthy numismatists and institutional collectors often compete aggressively for one-of-a-kind error coins, especially those tied to the Lincoln cent series, which is one of the most collected series in the world. Another important factor is provenance. If such a coin were discovered in an old estate collection, bankroll, or long-forgotten coin jar, its discovery story would further increase its value. The narrative of hidden treasure plays a powerful role in auction psychology. Even though the coin appears damaged, collectors sometimes refer to heavy toning and corrosion as historical patina, especially when the error is visually strong. In rare marketing cases, such coins are promoted as survivor errors, emphasizing that despite environmental damage, the minting mistake remains clearly visible. In conclusion, this 1969 D Lincoln cent with alleged mint mark error and extreme circulated condition represents the type of coin that sparks debate in numismatic circles, while ordinary examples are common and nearly worthless. Extraordinary error combinations can transform a simple 1-cent coin into a 6-figure collectible. Its value is not in its metal content or condition, but in the rarity of its minting history and the intensity of collector demand. Next up, the United States. Abraham Lincoln. Wheat 1 cent 1944, with D mint mark error coin holds a fascinating place in American numismatic history, especially when discussed in the context of rare minting anomalies, wartime production changes, and extreme collector speculation. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series, minted from 1909 to 1958, is one of the most widely collected coin series in the world, and among all its dates, the 1944 issues are especially interesting because they were struck during the final years of World War II, a period that significantly influenced U.S. coin production methods and material sourcing. The year 1944 marked a return to the traditional bronze composition for the Lincoln cent after the experimental steel cents of 1943. In 1943, due to wartime copper shortages, the United States Mint produced steel pennies coated with zinc, which are now famous among collectors. However, in 1944, the Mint resumed using recycled shell casings and bronze alloy, which gave the coins their classic copper appearance. This transition period created an environment where minting inconsistencies, leftover planches, and die irregularities could occasionally occur, making the 1944 Lincoln cent an important date for error coin collectors. The 1944 D Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced a large portion of the circulating coinage for that year. The total mintage for the 1944 D penny is over 430 million coins, making it a very common issue in normal circulated condition. Under typical circumstances, even well-preserved examples of this coin are worth only a few cents to a few dollars, depending on grade. However, when unusual minting errors are present, especially combined with rare die anomalies, the value can increase dramatically in the collector market. The coin being discussed here is described as a 1944 D Lincoln Wheat Penny with a mint mark error in heavily circulated dirty condition. In numismatic terminology, a mint mark error can refer to several possibilities, including repunched mint marks, misplaced mint marks, filled mint marks, or even doubled dies affecting the mint mark area. During the 1940s, mint marks were manually punched into working dies, which created opportunities for misalignment and repunching errors. These varieties are actively studied by collectors because they represent human involvement in the minting process before modern automation eliminated most of these inconsistencies.
On the obverse of the 1944 Lincoln cent, Abraham Lincoln's portrait remains the central design element. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1944 are arranged around his profile. On the reverse, the iconic wheat ears design appears, symbolizing agricultural strength and national prosperity. This reverse design, created by Victor D. Brenner, is one of the most beloved motifs in American coinage, often referred to simply as the wheat penny reverse. In error coin collecting, even minor variations in these design elements can significantly impact value. A repunched mint mark D beneath the date, or a strongly doubled mint mark shifted from its original position, can create a dramatic visual effect that attracts specialist collectors. If such an error is combined with die cracks, lamination issues, or strike doubling, the coin becomes even more desirable within the error coin market. The condition of this coin is described as dirty, heavily circulated, and darkened with age. Normally, such condition would drastically reduce its numismatic value. Corrosion, environmental damage, and heavy wear typically make coins less attractive to collectors focused on high-grade specimens. However, in the specialized world of error coins, rarity often outweighs condition. If a coin exhibits a dramatic and verifiable minting error, even a heavily worn example can achieve strong auction results. In some extreme cases, collectors refer to these as low-grade rarity coins, where the visual damage does not eliminate the significance of the mint error. The darker tone or blackened surface often results from long-term exposure to soil, moisture, or improper storage conditions. While this reduces aesthetic appeal, it can also help authenticate long-term circulation history, which some collectors find appealing. Now, regarding market value, a standard 1944 D wheat penny in average circulated condition is usually worth between a few cents and a few dollars. Even in uncirculated red condition, values may reach $10 to $50 depending on quality. However, when a confirmed and dramatic mint mark error is present, especially one that is visually striking and verified by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC, the value can increase significantly. In this hypothetical high error scenario, where the coin displays a rare mint mark anomaly combined with unusual